Good day. Today we're going to look at evolution fixed assets. What are fixed assets? A fixed asset is a long-term tangible piece of property or equipment that a firm owns and uses in its operations to generate income. Fixed assets most commonly appear on the balance sheet as property, plant, and equipment. Examples of fixed assets are land and buildings, computer equipment, computer software, furniture and fixtures, and intangible assets. What is the asset register? A fixed asset register is a register listing the assets a company owns. It keeps information about the purchase value, purchase date, where the asset is located, and who is responsible for its maintenance. Why do you need an asset register? Required by South African law. Every company should know where their fixed assets are, what their value is, and in what condition they are. Tracking of assets can prevent loss and theft and fixed assets in the most cases. There are tax benefits to tracking fixed assets correctly. Fixed asset life cycle. The first one will be your asset acquisition, create, maintain assets, asset transactions, depreciation, and then disposal. Fixed asset maintenance. Accounting period, you create the calendar the system uses to calculate depreciation. Block assets allow you to block an asset from depreciation for a certain period. CapEx budgets allow you to track budgets for capital expenditure. Cost centers used for grouping. Departments used for grouping. Locations, each asset belongs to a location. Ledger account, you create ledger accounts so you can generate a posting that shows the entries you make in the general ledger. People, you can set up people you deal with. Suppliers, you can set up suppliers you purchase from. Take on balance. For assets purchased prior to using this module, you can enter the initial take-on balances. Defaults, you set up some important parameters for fixed asset processing. So let's look at the default screen. At the top, there you will see most of the maintenance we just went through. We're going to look at the defaults. Period. The system breaks the year into equal periods according to what you select. So you have different options here. We are going to work with 12. General adjustment options. You select how fixed asset must handle any adjustments that you need to be made for earlier periods. At the top right-hand side, you specify if you're going to work with cost center required, locations, or create transactions. We are going to use location required, and we're going to say create transaction GL entries. This is important for the disposal of assets. Under the depreciation period, you specify when you want to start depreciate, from purchase date, next period, or from calculated period. Under assets, here you specify how this asset numbering system is supposed to be, either automatic numbering or you type in your own numbering. Suppliers, this is for your suppliers, what you create in the system, how the numbering is supposed to be. And then we are on integration. Here you specify how your fixed asset will integrate. Integrate none means the fixed asset add-on module stands alone and doesn't integrate with any financial system. Pastel partner, if you integrate with the Pastel partner, and then local, we are going to integrate with Evolution. On the local integration screen, you specify the depreciation journal as well as your fixed asset disposal journal. The next thing, which is also very important, is your fixed assets depreciation methods. Depreciation of fixed assets uses different depreciation methods. Straight line and equal allowance depreciate asset by equal amount over time. Reducing balance, annual percentage depreciates. Plant and machinery, useful life based on useful life in years. Immediate write-off, depreciate fully upon acquisition. Units of usage, depreciates based on usage. And zero depreciation does not depreciate. Let's look at the depreciation method screen. Under plant and machinery, you will see we have one for photocopier, and we can specify the number of years, and you can edit the years and give percentages per year. There's also a straight line, description, the basis of the depreciation, and then numbers of years. The next important screen will be your fixed asset types. Asset types are the key elements in the depreciation processing. You link an asset type to depreciation methods for book and tax depreciation. You link an asset type to a ledger depreciation account for the debit entry to the general ledger. You optionally link an asset type to a ledger expense account for the credit entry to the general ledger. You link each asset to an asset type. So let's look at the asset type screen. I'm going to open office equipment, for example. There's the asset code, description. You specify the accumulated depreciation account as well as the depreciation expense account. This is where you will select the depreciation methods, book depreciation, and tax depreciation. In the right-hand side, you specify, if you want to work with recalculate values, you can put in the percentages as well as with factors. The next option will be to record the assets of the purchase. When an asset is purchased, you must manually add the asset into the system. Every asset is linked to groups that is set up to manage the type of asset, cost center, location, and depreciation methods. Details also include serial numbers that are on the asset, the way the asset was financed, if financed. Any images you have of the asset can be loaded into the system. Let's look at the asset screen. From here on, you can see there's your asset code, your asset description. If you're working with barcodes, you can put in the barcode in this field. Under groups, here you link the asset to the asset type. Remember, the depreciation method is linked to the asset type. Location, you specify the location and the suppliers. If you do CAPEX budgets, then you will select the CAPEX order. Purchase date, very important. You have to put in a purchase date, otherwise your depreciation cannot be calculated. You have a replacement option as well. If you replace the asset with a new asset, there's capital gains tax. From the top in the right, master asset. This is if this asset that you buy is linked to a master asset. For example, you've got a server and you purchase the external drive, then your external drive is part of the master asset. Number of units, you can say how many units there is for the specific asset. Price, the purchase price is also very important. This is where you will type it in. You can put in your insured value as well as your scrap value. Asset serial numbers tab, if you have serial numbers, you can put it in here as well as your barcode, and you can also see your location. The book depreciation screen and the tax depreciation screen display the totals of depreciation. Finance, if you got finance for this asset, you can add it in the screen, and then images, here you will add your image of this asset. The next what we're going to look at will be your fixed asset transactions. There's a few different transactions that you can use for fixed assets. For example, revalue a single asset. Using this function, revalue the asset at a point in time. Asset impairment, using the function to change the value of an asset if it falls below its book value. Transferring a single asset, you can transfer an asset to another asset type, cost center, or location. Sell and scrap of asset, you use this function to dispose of the asset. Divide assets, use this function to split the asset. For example, chairs. Unit of usage, you use this function for assets to depreciate according to the usage. For example, a crane may have a rated life of 100,000 working hours. Override assets, you use this function to change the life of an asset. Block asset, use this function if you wish to suspend depreciation of an asset for a time. Closing and opening of periods, you can close periods to speed up processing. Group revaluation, this lets you revalue purchases and insurance values on a group. And then you have your general ledger depreciation batch. You use this function to run the depreciation. And then you have your general ledger transaction batch. Use this function to dispose. So let's just go and look at the transactions screen. On this screen, you will find a list of all your fixed assets. And at the top is your transactions. What exactly you want to do with an asset. I'm going to show you quickly how to do a transfer. Let's transfer the desk. So you click on the asset and you click on transfer. The transfer screen will give you information about the asset. The date is when you want to transfer, and the reference number, you can decide what your reference numbers must be. You can transfer to a new asset type, a new cost center, or a new location. For now, we're just going to select, we're going to do a location to Durban, and we're going to say, okay. That is how you will do normal of these transactions. Let's sell a asset. Once again, you click on the asset, click on sell and scrap. Once again, you will see your asset details at the top, the date when you want to do the transaction, and in the right-hand side, you can decide if it's a sell or a scrap. So let's sell this asset. Reference number, and you can put in the value and the reason not using, for example, and then we click on OK. The system's going to pop up a warning. Are you sure you want to sell scrap asset? We're going to say yes. The next screen, you will have to apply all the general ledger accounts to sell the asset. We are selling office furniture, so we will have to choose the asset for office furniture. We will select the cost account. There's your accumulated depreciation account. The debit account will be a bank account, or depends on how you're going to get the money. In this case, I'm going to use petty cash. The profit account, if you make a profit, you will select a profit account, and you have to select a loss account as well. You will see it's two separate accounts. Click on OK. Please remember to back up the data before posting a batch. We're not posting the batch yet, we only sell it. And there is your fixed asset general ledger batch. So now you can still look at that and make sure it's 100% correct. So let's look at this. From the top, you save first. You can save the batch to Excel. I'm just going to overwrite the existing one and you say yes. And if you'd like to view it, there is your asset in Excel. The next thing will be you can even print the batch before you post the batch. So let's do that. So as soon as you say post batch, do you want to print the batch? Say yes. And this is your screen where you can specify the filters, how you want to see this report. Let's preview. There's your report. Please remember you can save these reports by going to print, and you can either print or you can print to file, and then you can just specify your type and where you want to save it. I'm not going to save it at all. I'm happy with my report. So we've sold an asset. Let's do a depreciation journal. Under transactions, fixed asset depreciation, depreciation or generated depreciation batch for all assets based on the individual setup. generate a batch for one period or many periods, process batch, print and check reports. So we're going to do a depreciation batch. So I'm going back to evolution. Under my fixed asset transactions, I will find GL depreciation batch. Currently, you will see there's nothing in this batch, and we're going to click on generate batch. It's very, very important that you first do a backup when you do your depreciation batch. I'm not going to do that. In real life, you have to do it, and they do the backup on SQL. Click on OK. Here you specify the period. In real life, you won't have all these because you're going to run your depreciation journal every month. For now, I'm just going to select a journal, a period for the journal, and we're going to click on OK. It's good that we see this error. In other words, there's nothing to generate for that period. So let's run it again. And we're going to choose a different period. I'm going to use up to April for now. And we say OK. There we can see our depreciation that happened. Once again, you can save the batch. You can first save it to Excel. You can double check yourself before you post the batch. If you're not happy with this batch, you can clear the batch and rather redo it. We are happy with this batch, so we're going to say post batch. Do you want to print the batch? Yes. Once again, I'm not going to make any changes. We're just going to say preview, and there is your batch. You can print it. You can save the report. We click on close. Now we did the depreciation and the disposal of the asset in the fixed asset module, but we still have to take it to our general ledger module. So for now, we're going to general ledger, and we go to journal batches under transactions. And there you will see, there's my fixed asset disposal journal. I need to open it. And I still need to post this batch to update my finance reports. So we're going to say post batch. There's a few warnings here. It's just the debits or no or credit specified. So no, we're not. Yeah, you can actually print the batch. Please remember, when you work with journals, you have to print the batch or save the batch. And there's my depreciation journal. Exactly the same. You can double check yourself. Is everything correct? And we're going to say post batch. And let's preview the batch. There you will see it's in balance. It's previewing. And there we went through the process of fixed assets. But let's look at a few other things. You can also do tracking of your assets. If you have a scanner, this is just an example of the scanner. The steps taken, create an asset count batch per area, site or factory. You can scan assets with a handheld scanner. You can import the file from scanner to evolution. You can print the variance report, follow up on variances. Note that scanners can be programmed to record barcodes or manual record for each asset. Let's go back. And then you have, of course, all your different fixed asset reports. You've got CAPEX reports, you've got GL batch reports, movement reports, labels, depreciation reports, other, and listing reports. Let's look at one of our listing reports for an example. So under fixed assets, you will go to reports. And on this screen, you will see from the top, there's your CAPEX report, depreciation report, GL batch, labels, and there's your listing reports. I want to look at my asset details listing report. Let's click at that one. All the reports have different filters, so you can play around with that. So let's just select from two. I'm going to select all of my assets for now. You can say you want to view the report from purchase date to purchase date. I'm not going to select anything. I want to set up to today's date. At the top of the right-hand side, you can also view per groups. There's your asset type, if you want to specify only a specific asset. Cost centers, there's departments, suppliers, and locations, or master asset. And we're going to say ignore sold asset. Under layout options, you have a default layout. You can customize your layout the way you want to see it. And then, of course, you've got your printer options and your email. We're just going to say preview. What can I see on this report? I can see the date, the asset code, description, the quantity. If you have a barcode scanner, the codes will appear here. Location, supplier. If you deal with departments, it will be here. There's your asset type, your purchase date, and your purchase price. So this is an example of one of the reports. There's a lot of reports that you can go through and view all of them. It's nice to see how each report format look like. And that's the end of my presentation on fixed assets. If you require any more information, there's our contact number, and you can also email us at support@aboutitgroup.co.za. Thank you.